You ready to go there, Councillor Wynn?
Okay, thank you. Okay, we will bring this meeting to order. Before this public meeting begins, I will advise the public of the following. This is a meeting to host public meetings on matters requiring approval under the Planning Act. During the meeting, there will be an opportunity for questions and answers from committee and the public. Before we begin, members of the public are advised that if a person or public body does not make oral submission at the public meeting or make written submission to the Corporation of the Municipality of Central Elgin before the decision, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Central Elgin to the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal. Further, if a person or public body does not make oral submission at the public meeting or make written submission to the Corporation of the Municipality of Central Elgin before the decision, the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal, unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to do so. Those wanting to be notified of the Council's decision on any application should email Diane Wilson at dwilson@centralelgin.org, indicating which meeting they wish to be notified on and providing their name and address. Those who do not have access to a computer and wish to be notified should call Diane Wilson at 519-631-4860, extension 286, and provide the same information. We'll come to our first application. This is a public hearing as required by the Planning Act to hear the applicant Greg Smith and every other person who desires to be heard in favor of or against the application for a minor variance for permission from the zoning bylaw respecting 240 College Street. Do any members of the committee have a disclosure of interest? Hearing none. If the applicant or agent is listening on your computer, tablet, or smartphone, please click the raise hand icon. And if you have called into the meeting using a telephone, please dial *9. We will acknowledge your raised hand and you will be unmuted to explain the application. Mr. Perrin, do we have the applicant or their agent?
Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead. Can you explain the nature of your application?
Yes, I would just, I'm putting in a 26 by 40 detached garage, and I would just like to go a little bit higher than the permitted height of 4 meters to 4.9. That would give me a 10-foot ceiling in my garage and then a 10-12 pitch to match my existing house.
Okay. Madam Secretary Treasurer, what method of notice and when was notice given to the public of the hearing?
Land within 60 meters of the subject property on Friday, February the 12th, 2021. Notice was physically posted to the property by municipal staff on that day and published to the municipal website. Notice was also displayed in the City Buzz advertisements.
Thank you. Mr. McClure, do you have any comments on this application?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Nothing further than what's in the report.
Thank you. Madam Secretary Treasurer, have you received any written submissions on this application?
Madam Chair, correspondence has been received from Belmont United Church Board of Trustees advising that they have no objections to the requested variance. Correspondence has also been received from Kettle Creek Conservation Authority stating no objections and confirming that the property is not affected by KCCA natural hazard regulations. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any members of the committee have any questions with regards to this application? Seeing none, is there any members of the public that have called in or are online, Mr. Perrin?
Seeing none, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, well, everybody has been given a fair opportunity to be heard. Is the committee ready to make a decision?
I am.
Madam Secretary Treasurer, could you take the vote, please?
Certainly. Councillor Cook? Councillor Krebitz?
Yes.
Councillor Fair?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Marks?
Yes.
Councillor Rowe?
Yes.
Councillor Wynn?
Yes.
And Mayor Martin?
Yes.
It's granted.
Thank you. That application has been granted. Those wanting to be notified of the committee's decision on any application should email Diane Wilson at dwilson@centralelgin.org, indicating which public meeting they wish to be notified on and provide their name and address. Those who do not have access to a computer and wish to be notified should call Diane Wilson at 519-631-4860, extension 286, and provide the same information. This meeting is now adjourned. Hello?
The next public meeting will be at 7 o'clock, just for those who are in the waiting room.
Okay, I've just lost my video of everybody. Can you see me?
You see
Anyone?
the name,
Hear
your
you and see
camera's
your
not on.
name.
Now your
Now we
camera's
can
on.
see you.
There, can you see me now?
Yes.
I can't
Yeah, we
see me. Oh,
see you
there I am. Oh my God, that was scary there for a minute. Okay. Okay, so we're good now until 7?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Still on then?
Fiona, it's Bill here. I don't know if you can see that computer in the back right here. In my
Right behind
background. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
That's an old one I had for about 8 or 9 years, and it slowed down. It was just, the drive was shot. And I talked to my IT guy and I said, I've heard that you can mirror things. And it was a terabyte drive. So,
Yep.
so he did the whole terabyte drive, but he said it took 203 hours to download.
Really?
Mayor and members of council, just for informational purposes, the stream is still live right now as we're just waiting till the next meeting starts. So just wanted to give you that heads up that we're still live streaming at this point in time.
Sally, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Dennis.
I sent Diane an email about the adjustment if somebody lost or cut off. She got a copy of that email. Just wondering if you can confirm if she got that.
Diane, did you get a copy of an email from Dennis? No, she didn't.
Oh,
Go ahead, Counselor, when it is 7 o'clock.
No,
We can barely hear you.
now I can't hear anything. Can someone just say something so I can be sure I can hear everybody?
We can't hear you, Fiona. Sorry.
Yeah, that's not working. Sorry, in my earbuds, they're causing feedback and these earbuds aren't working.
You use the other ones. It almost sounded like someone had another tablet going or something like that, because it was a double conversation. You hear it once and hear it again. So if someone has another tablet going, just double check and shut those off.
Mr. Perrin, are you still getting feedback?
Nope, we're good now.
Are you? Okay, good. Not sure what I did this time, but if it's working, let's go. Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. This is a public hearing as required by the Planning Act to hear the applicant, Benjamin and Michelle Gilbert, and every other person who desires to be heard in favor of or against the application for a minor variance from the zoning bylaw respecting 42595 Water Tower Road. Does any member of the committee have a disclosure of interest concerning this application? I'm seeing none. If the applicant or agent is listening on your computer, tablet, or smartphone, please click the raise hand icon. And if you have called into the meeting using a telephone, please dial *9. We will acknowledge your raised hand and you will be unmuted to explain the application. Mr. Perrin, is Mr. or Mrs. Gilbert on the line?
Go ahead, Mr. Gilbert.
Hello, Mr. Gilbert?
Muted.
Oh, we can hear you now. Hello? Mr. Gilbert?
He's in the room. He's unmuted, but for some reason we can't hear him.
Okay. Oh, hello, is that you, Mr. Gilbert?
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes.
we can hear you.
All right,
Yes.
sorry.
Go ahead. If you could please explain your application.
So we're just looking to put in minor variance and for height. We're looking, and I guess rear setback. We're looking.
Mr. Gilbert, sorry if I could just stop you for a moment. You seem to be cutting in and out. I'm not sure if you could just ensure that you're speaking directly into the mic, into your mic.
Actually, Fiona, we are able to hear him quite well.
We're
no,
just
I-
looking to put
I
an
have a problem.
application in for minor variance on height and rear setback.
Okay. I'm sorry, was there something else?
Rear setback.
Okay, all right, thank you. Sorry about that. I'm having issues with my earbuds. So what method of notice and when was notice given to the public of the hearing?
Madam Chair, as per requirements of the Planning Act, notice was mailed by regular post to every owner of land within 60 meters of the subject property on Friday, February the 12th. Notice was physically posted to the property by municipal staff on that day and published to the municipal website. Notice was also displayed in the CE Buzz advertisements.
Thank you. Mr. McClure, do you have any comments on this application?
Nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you. Do staff have any comments on this application? Oh, sorry, Councillor Fair, we're just, that was just for staff. I'll be coming to the committee soon. Hearing nothing from staff. Madam Secretary Treasurer, have you received any written submissions on this application?
Madam Chair, correspondence has been received from Kettle Creek Conservation Authority stating no objections and confirming that the property is not affected by KCCA natural hazard regulations.
Thank you. Do any members of the committee have any questions on this application? Councillor Fair, go ahead.
Just one question to Mr. McClure. On comments, it says for a more appropriate employment area. What does that mean? Is what employment of what?
Through you, Madam Chair, to Councilor Fair. This was in, I guess that specific comment in the report was in relation to a consultation meeting that we had with the landowner originally. They were looking to have, or I guess have the addition or this structure slightly larger than was currently proposed to allow for storage of materials and equipment for their business. To which we indicated at that time that that wasn't appropriate within this zone, so they've scaled it back and they're using it for personal use only as an accessory building. My understanding is that they're currently utilizing some lands within an employment area for their personal, I guess, work vehicles and equipment. So this is just reflecting in the report that this building and structure is only intended for personal use of in storage of motor vehicles and their own sort of household goods.
Thank you, Mr. McClure. Did that satisfy your question, Councillor Fair?
Yes, I guess so. It just seemed funny saying employment area, and I couldn't understand what that meant.
Okay, thank you. Do any other members of the committee have any questions with regards to the application? Seeing none. Is there any members of the public, Mr. Perrin, that have called in?
No, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Everybody has been given a fair opportunity to be heard. Is the committee ready to make a decision?
Yes.
Madam Secretary Treasurer, could you please take the vote?
Councillor Cook,
Yes.
Councillor Kravitz,
Yes.
Councillor Fair,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Marks,
Yes.
Councillor Wynne,
Yes.
Councillor Rowe,
Yes.
and Mayor Martin.
Yes.
It's granted.
Thank you. So that application has been granted, and those wanting to be notified of the committee's decision on any application should email Diane Wilson at dwilson@centralelgin.org, indicating which public meeting they wish to be notified on and provide their name and address. Those who do not have access to a computer and wish to be notified should call Diane Wilson at 519-631-4860 at extension 286 and provide the same information. This meeting is now adjourned.
The next application will be held at 7:15. It's a zoning bylaw amendment. I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is a public meeting as required by subsection 3412 of the Planning Act to afford any person an opportunity to make representation with respect to a proposed zoning bylaw amendment respecting 45939 John Wise Line. The purpose of the amendment is to rezone the subject lands to satisfy a condition required by the municipality of Central Elgin and the County of Elgin Land Division Committee that would prohibit the retained lands from constructing a new residential dwelling. This is a general requirement for any residential surplus to a farm operation consent application within a prime agricultural area. Does any member of council have a disclosure of interest concerning this proposal? Seeing none, what method of notice and when was notice given to the public for this meeting?
Madam Mayor, as per requirements of the Planning Act, notice was mailed by regular post to every owner of land within 120 meters of the subject land and applicable agencies on Friday, January the 30th, 2021. Notice was physically posted to the property by municipal staff and placed on the municipal website. Notice was also displayed in the weekly CE Buzz advertisements.
Thank you. Mr. McClure, would you like to go through the proposed zoning bylaw amendment?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I will just share my screen to present the draft amendment. So as can be seen on the screen at the moment, this is a presentation for the draft zoning bylaw amendment for 45939 John Wise Line. As has been indicated, this is a draft amendment to deal with the condition of surplus farm severance consent in the municipality. As can be seen on the screen, the location of the subject lands are south of John Wise Line and west of Quaker Road, and the location of the surplus farm severance is in the general vicinity of my cursor. This brings us to the draft amendment itself. Part 1 of the amendment introduces Schedule A to the bylaw, being map part 42F, with Part 2 of the amendment designating the lands outlined in heavy solid lines on Schedule A as OS 1-216. This is map part 40. And 42F, as can be seen on the screen, OS 1-216 is outlined in the heavy solid lines, and the area in cross hatching or hatching here designated OS 1-217 will be brought up later on in the presentation. So part 3 of the amendment introduces a new subsection to the general, provisions of the OS 1 zone. This new subsection is 8.2.2.216. It defines the area shown on zoning map part 42F as OS 1-216. Provides the only permitted uses on those lands being farm use and accessory uses, and that the only permitted buildings and structures being farm dwellings or farm buildings and structures, but no dwelling shall be permitted. And accessory buildings and structures are also permitted on the property. There's also exceptions to the general provisions of the zone as provided through subsection 8.2.2.216.4. And again, this is to allow for what is provided in the amendment. Part 4 of the amendment again goes back to that previous schedule that I showed, Schedule A, and designates the lands shown in hatched lines on Schedule A as OS 1-217. Part 5 of the amendment then again introduces a new subsection to the bylaw, being 8.2.2.217, and defines that area on zoning map part 42F as OS 1-217. Provides that the only permitted uses in that zone are rural residential use, home occupations, and accessory uses. Provides that the buildings, permitted buildings and structures in that zone are buildings and structures existing at the time of the passing of the bylaw, but also accessory buildings and structures. And then the exceptions are to the general provisions to allow what is permitted through this amendment. And then part 6 of the amendment introduces Schedule B to the bylaw, being zoning map 42. And again, this is what we typically do with the amendments in the anticipation of the eventual consolidation of bylaw 1998. Zoning map 42 is a consolidated version that has all the changes made to the zoning map by this amendment and all amendments prior. As can be seen here and on the screen again where my cursor is, the OS 1-216 and the OS 1-217. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McClure. Have you received any written submissions on this proposal?
Madam Mayor, correspondence has been received from Catfish Creek Conservation Authority stating no concerns with the zoning amendment.
Thank you. We will now open the meeting to questions from the public. For those attending who have not already submitted their concerns or comments to the municipality. If you are listening on your computer, tablet, or smartphone, please click the raise hand icon. And if you have called into the meeting using a telephone, please dial *9. The questions will be taken in sequential order. When given the opportunity to speak, please provide your name and address for the record. I will now open the meeting to the public. Mr.
Madam
Perrin,
Mayor.
is there anyone?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, there's no one in attendance.
No one in attendance, thank you. Do any members of council or any members of staff or anything have any questions? Councillor Kravitz, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Mr. McClure, I just got a question. At the bottom of the report, it says that the existing shed, chicken coop, and timber frame barn are to be removed from the retained lot. Why do they have to be removed? I was curious of what, if that's a stipulation of this severance.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, through you to Councillor Kravitz. I believe it had to do more with the land use compatibility aspects to that. It may be a condition through the severance itself that they be removed. Again, trying to limit the amount of land taken out of agricultural production, but also, I guess, to ensure that there is no land use compatibility concerns. But again, that would be a condition of the consent, not of the zoning bylaw itself.
Okay, and just one other question.
Go ahead.
As far as the retained farmland, as far as road access, is there any issues with any road access to this retained farmland? I don't know, I didn't see anything in the report showing where the entrance would be for the retained lot.
Through you, I guess, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Kravitz, there was nothing in the report or through the severance application process that raised any concerns, as I'm aware of, for access to the retained lands.
Thank you.
I think something in the that should be shown in the future, I think, just so there's no issues for access to property in the future. I don't know if that's something we should be doing at this point. Not for this current application, but in the future, we should be looking into that. Go ahead, Kevin.
Just, I guess, just to kind of follow up on that, I believe that would be something that they would look through the severance application process in order that they would not want to create, I guess, a lot that was unable to be accessed from a public road.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on council have any questions? If not, everyone has been given a fair opportunity to be heard. If there are no further questions, please be advised that any person wishing further information on the actions of council regarding the passing of a bylaw on the proposed amendment should email Diane Wilson at dwilson@centralelgin.org, indicating which public meeting they wish to be notified on and providing their name and address. Those who do not have access to a computer and wish to be notified should call Diane Wilson at 519-631-4860, extension 286, and provide the same information. This public meeting is now concluded. Any amendment to the bylaw will be considered at a future meeting of council. Now everyone has to go out and come back in to the regular council.